لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد، فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: اقرأوا القرآن فإنه يأتي يوم القيامة شفيعا لأصحابه، أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وأزواجه وذرياته. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam has said, Iqra'ul Qur'an. Read the Qur'an. فإنه يأتي يوم القيامة شفيعا لأصحابه. Because Qur'an will come as an intercessor on the day of Qiyamah. There are 2 points in this hadith which we need to ponder over. One is reciting the Qur'an. Iqra'ul Qur'an. Read the Qur'an, reciting the Qur'an. And the second point is the benefit of reciting the Qur'an. Read the Qur'an because as a result of reciting the Qur'an will intercede for you on the day of Qiyamah. And this is not the only benefit of reciting the Qur'an. There are numerous benefits. One benefit is that the Qur'an will intercede for the reciter on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala include us amongst those people for whom the Qur'an will intercede on the day of Qiyamah. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, Al-Qur'anu hujjatun laka aw alayka. the Qur'an will be an evidence in your favor on the day of Qiyamah or evidence against you. If you are a reciter of the Qur'an will be an evidence in your favor. In the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Qur'an will stand and fight in your favor. It will intercede for you. And if you do not recite the Qur'an will become an evidence against you in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, reciting the Qur'an, there are those people who recite the words of the Qur'an on a daily basis. Those people who are not reciters of the Qur'an, they either don't recite the Qur'an at all, or they do recite the Qur'an but once in a while, maybe in the month of Ramadan, maybe when they go and visit Haramain Sharifain, Al-Masjidul Aqsa, maybe when calamity befalls them. They are also reciters of the Qur'an, but reciters of the Qur'an of a very low category. But reciters of the Qur'an who fall in the higher category, they are those who recite the Qur'an regularly on a daily basis. They recite those verses of the glorious Qur'an, those surahs of the glorious Qur'an for which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has mentioned virtues. The recitation of which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has encouraged. For example, recitation of Surah Yasin Sharif every morning. Recitation of Surah Yasin Sharif before going to sleep. Reciting Suratul Mulk, Surah Alif Lam Mim Sajda, Suratul Waqiyah before going to sleep. Reciting Suratul Kahf on the day of Friday. Reciting the last two verses of Suratul Baqarah before going to sleep. Reciting Ayatul Kursi before going to sleep or after every Salat. And with this, they begin reciting the Qur'an from Suratul Fatiha, and on a daily basis, 1 juz every day, or half a juz every day, or quarter juz every day, or 2 juz every day, or 3 juz every day, they continue reciting. And when they complete the Qur'an, they restart. When they complete the Qur'an, they restart. So this is one category of reciters of the Qur'an. And you will find so many people, alhamdulillah, even today, who will say that, alhamdulillah, I recite 1 juz from the Qur'an daily, and I have been doing this for the past 30 years. I have been doing this for the past 40 years. There are so many huffaz, I know. The world is filled with huffaz, but there are so many huffaz I know, dozens of huffaz that I know, who recite 3 juz daily, without fail. So reciters of the Quran, Iqra'ul Quran, recite the Quran. Then comes the reciters of the Quran of a higher category. There are so many categories in this first category. There are those who recite quarter juz daily. There are those who recite 1 juz daily. There are those who recite 3 juz daily. There are those who recite 10 juz daily. There are those who recite 15 juz daily. There are those who recite 20 juz daily. And there may still be, but there have been many who used to recite the whole Quran daily. And when a person embarks on something that will please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts barakah in that person's time. For example, many of us recite 4 juz, 5 juz, 6 juz daily in the month of Ramadan, with the same commitments that we have on a day-to-day basis. Outside Ramzan, we cannot imagine completing 4 juz or 5 juz. In the month of Ramadan we are able to do. Allah puts barakah. At the Islamic Dawah Academy, some students were able to complete 12 juz daily. Some were able to complete 15 juz daily. Some were able to complete one Quran daily. With the whole 24-hour timetable. Lectures, suhoor, iftar. One Quran daily. When a person makes a certain thing an objective, then he will focus on that objective. And he will come to this conclusion that I don't want to waste my time in this because I have something to accomplish. I have no time to talk to this person at the moment. I have something to accomplish. So this is the first category of people who recite the Qur'an. Recite the words of the Qur'an. And there is a lot of benefit in that also, just reciting the Qur'an. Then you have the second category who recite the Qur'an whilst understanding the Qur'an. With tadabbur. So they recite the Qur'an with full concentration. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. They understand what they are reciting. Not parrot fashion only. The ulama who understand the Qur'an. And the ulama and those people who understand the Arabic language are urged to recite the Qur'an with concentration on the meanings of the Qur'an. Because the benefit will increase. The first recitation is of a lower category, that you are reciting the words only. But there are so many benefits in that also. But this is the higher category, that we recite the Qur'an whilst understanding the meaning. And those students of Deeni Ulum or those ulama who feel that if we ponder over the verses of the Qur'an and try to recite the Qur'an, then we will not be able to complete our daily recital. For example, if I don't concentrate and recite only the words of the Qur'an, it will take me 20 minutes to complete the juz. But if I ponder over the verses of the Qur'an, it will take me 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So I have either of two choices. I recite without concentration and complete the recitation in 20 minutes. Or I concentrate and recite only 2 juz or 3 juz or 2 ruku or 3 ruku or 4 ruku. So for such ulama and for such talaba, Hakimul Ummah Hazrat Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanvi Rahmatullahi Alayhi used to say that begin 2 recitals. So one recital is without pondering over the meaning. So in 20 minutes your 1 juz will be out of the way. And thereafter take out 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you allocate, and begin another recital from Suratul Fatiha. And for 15-20 minutes, recite the Quran with concentration. Now, you may manage to complete quarter juz, you may manage to complete only 1 ruku or maybe only 1 verse, but no problem. So 2 Qurans will move together. This is the higher level. Now, the people who recite the Quran in this manner fall into 2 categories. One category is, I want to understand the Quran. I am reciting the Quran whilst pondering over the verses of the Quran. And I am doing this so that I am able to understand the Quran and I may be able to propagate the teachings of the Quran. This is also a very good intention, alhamdulillah. But there is the other category which is of a high status, and that is, I am reciting the Quran whilst pondering over the meanings of the Quran so that I am able to understand the wishes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in regard to me, and I am able to carry out the wishes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also propagate the same to the others. This is also recitation of the Qur'an. So we recite the Qur'an while pondering over the meaning with the intention of practicing and propagating. So reciting the Qur'an, just the words. Reciting the Qur'an while pondering over the meaning with the intention of practicing and propagating. This is qira'ah. Iqra'ul Qur'an, read the Qur'an. And both have benefits. But one has more benefits than the other. Why? Because the Qur'an will become an intercessor for you on the day of Qiyamah. There are so many other benefits also. For example, for those people who recite the Qur'an without pondering over the meanings of the Qur'an, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants them 10 rewards for every letter they recite. Man qara harfam min kitabillahi falahu bihi hasanatun. That person who recites one letter from the Qur'an, for him is one hasana, one good reward. Wal hasanatu bi ashri amsalha, and one good reward in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala equals 10 good rewards. So when a person recites a letter or a word which consists of 5 letters, then Allah will grant him 50 reward. And thereafter Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, La aqulu alif lam mim harfun. To make it clear for everybody, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I am not saying alif lam mim is one letter, but rather, walakin alifun harfun, wa lamun harfun, wa mimun harfun. Alif is a separate letter, lam is a separate letter, and mim is a separate letter. So when a person puts these 3 letters together and recites it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant him 30 rewards. Shaykh al-Hadith Maulana Muhammad Zakaria Sahib rahimahullah ta'ala has mentioned that the alif lam mim mentioned in this particular hadith is not the alif lam mim at the beginning of Suratul Baqarah or Suratul Ali Imran. The alif lam mim mentioned in this hadith is the alif lam mim at the beginning of Suratul Fil. Alam tara, alam, alif lam and mim. Alif lam and mim. So alif lam mim, alif lam mim, the one at the beginning of Suratul Fil, when a person recites alam tara, for alam Allah will grant him 30 rewards, and for tara Allah will give him 20 rewards. Kaifa Allah will grant 30 rewards. So for alif lam mim at the beginning of Suratul Fil, Allah will grant 30 rewards. But as far as the alif lam mim at the beginning of Suratul Baqarah is concerned, Allah will grant 90 rewards. Why? Because when a person says alif, he is uttering 3 letters, alif, lam and fa. Alif. And when a person says lam, then lam consists of 3 letters, lam, alif and mim. And when a person says mim, it consists of 3 letters, mim, ya and mim. So Allah will grant 90 rewards. Now imagine the amount of reward that a person will acquire for completing the whole Quran. And if a person makes it his habit of reciting the Quran on a daily basis, then imagine the reward that he will acquire for his recitation that he has recited throughout his life. Enormous reward, enormous reward. And the young girl, our daughter who is completing the glorious Quran today, mashallah, who has studied at this madrasa, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how many times she has recited the Quran in order to reach this stage. Only Allah knows. Sabak para, and then door, revision. So these are some of the benefits of reciting the Quran. So let us make a resolution today, inshallah, that we will attach ourselves to the Quran and recite the Quran regularly on a daily basis. The minimum should be Yasin Sharif in the morning. Yasin Sharif in the morning. And Suratul Mulk and Surah Alif Lam Mim Sajda in the evening. This will save us from the punishment of the grave. And once we are clear in the grave, inshallah, all the other stations will become clear. And if we are worried about sustenance, then we should recite Surah Al-Waqiyah also before going to sleep. Because Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Man qara Surah Al-Waqiyah kulla laylatin lam tusibhu faqatun. One who recites Surah Al-Waqiyah every night, poverty will not reach him. And Surah Al-Waqiyah is what? 5 pages. 5 pages. It will take 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. So if we recite Surah Al-Waqiyah every night and Surah Al-Mulk and Surah Alif Lam Mim Sajda, then we will safeguard our worldly life and also the life of the hereafter. And Surah Al-Kahf every Friday. Because we are passing through the era of fitan. Every day we come across new fitna, and this fitan will increase. These tests and trials will increase. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the one who recites Suratul Kahf every Friday, Allah will safeguard him from the fitna of Dajjal. And in another hadith, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that no fitna will come upon my ummah which will be more greater than the fitna of Dajjal. So we can deduce from this that the person who will recite Suratul Kahf every Friday, Allah will save him from all fitna, inshallah. And for those people who may find Suratul Kahf difficult in the initial stages because it's approximately 3/4 juz, just under 3/4 juz, I will advise them to begin reciting one ruku from Suratul Kahf every Friday. And once you have one ruku in control, then start reciting 2 rukus and then 3 rukus. And inshallah soon you will be able to recite the whole of Suratul Kahf every Friday. And with these a few surahs, let us make a habit of reciting the Qur'an on a daily basis, beginning from Suratul Fatiha, taking it all the way to Suratul Nas. Be it 1 juz daily, be it 3/4, be it half, be it quarter, be it 1 ruku, be it 1 page, be it only a few ayat. But let us make a daily without fail. And those people who find it very, very difficult because they are very busy or some other obstruction, begin with reciting 1 verse every day. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Thereafter, if you feel like reciting more, alhamdulillah. If you don't feel like reciting more, you may close the Quran. The following day, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, ar-rahmanir rahim. If you feel like reciting more, alhamdulillah. If not, then 1 verse will suffice. Inshallah, as a result of this, within weeks or months, you will get addicted to the recitation of the Quran. Because you will experience the sweetness of the Quran. So recite the Quran on a daily basis, and also those who are able to understand the Quran, mashallah, the ulama, the talaba, they should recite the Quran with tadabbur, with concentration. They should ponder over the meanings of the Quran. They should refer to the tafasir where required. And those who are unable to understand the Arabic language, they should attend the durus of the Quran in the masajid. Alhamdulillah, in Leicester we are very fortunate. I think every masjid holds a Dars Quran program, alhamdulillah. So you should participate. Or on a one-to-one base, find an alim who can take out time for you and try to understand the message of the Quran. And the benefits of the Quran, alhamdulillah, there are so many. One is mentioned in this hadith that Allah will make the Quran intercessor for us on the day of Qiyamah. The Quran will intercede. And there is another benefit of reciting the Quran. The ulama have stated that the one who recites the Quran regularly, Allah will grant such a person husn khatimah. We are all concerned about husn khatimah, our departure, how we will depart from this world. Those people who attach themselves to the glorious Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant them husn khatimah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the ability to connect ourselves to His glorious book and his kalam, the Qur'an. The young girl who is completing the Qur'an today, she is very fortunate. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said in a hadith, man qara al-Qur'an, one who reads the Qur'an, fastazharahu, and then that person memorizes the Qur'an. So reads the Qur'an, memorizes the Qur'an, thereafter فَحَلَّ حَلَالَهُ وَحَرَّمَ حَرَامَهُ. That person takes halal as halal and haram as haram. So that person benefits from halal but abstains from haram. What will Allah grant such a person? أَدْخَلَهُ اللَّهُ الْجَنَّةِ. Allah will grant such a person entry into Jannah. And not only will Allah grant such a person entry into Jannah, وَشَفَّاهُ. Allah will make that person intercessor for 10 people from that person's family. وَشَفَّاهُ فِي أَشَرَةٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ. Allah will make that person intercessor for 10 people from that person's household, he or she. And these 10 people, كُلُّهُمْ قَدْ وَجَبَتْ لَهُمُ النَّارِ, upon whom Jahannam has become incumbent. That means they had spent their lives in such disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they were supposed to go in the fire of Jahannam. But as a result of the intercession of a Hafiz of the Qur'an or Hafiza of the Qur'an, male or female either, Allah will grant forgiveness to 10 such people upon whom Jahannam has become incumbent. So, mashallah, the family are very fortunate also. The grandfather is here, mashallah, and the father is sitting at the back. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant the whole family barakah, grant the teachers barakah also, grant immense barakah to the madrasa also. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connect us all and the whole ummah to the glorious Quran from all aspects. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in.